The Notre Dame running backs were on full display last week, along with their quarterback. Combined 362 yards on the ground at Purdue. Jeremiah Love, the main guy, racked up his first 100-yard rushing game of his career.
Yeah, and the running backs are coached by Deland McCullough, who also played for Miami, Ohio. In fact, he was named to the All-MAC team 3 times. He also developed a close relationship with his coach there, Sherman Smith. But it turns out that bond was deeper than either one of them imagined.
Nice.
Notre Dame running backs coach Deland McCullough grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. He was raised by his adoptive mother, Adele Comer. His adoptive father left when he was 2 years old. Deland never knew his birth parents.
Who's my family? Who's this? Who's that?
A standout on the football field, sports gave him the opportunity for life outside of Youngstown. That's how he met Sherman Smith, an assistant coach at Miami University of Ohio.
Little skinny running back, at Campbell Memorial High School. And I just remember first watching film on him, just how hard he ran, just how determined he ran. He was a little guy that ran like a big man, that he was running with attitude.
He was a coach for Miami of Ohio, and he came into my school. And I remember when he came in there, just seeing him and just, his stature and just, good-looking guy, well-spoken, put together, successful, college degree, played in the NFL. I mean, all those things I hadn't. In Youngstown, you don't just see that walking around all the time, let alone walking to your school to recruit you.
Sherman also grew up in Youngstown and was a star athlete, a running back at Miami of Ohio and in the NFL, accumulating nearly 6,000 all-purpose yards and 28 touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks and San Diego Chargers. The two just hit it off, an instant connection.
And just the way he carried himself and just the disposition that he had, it was something that you were drawn to. So immediately, just because of his character and just his presence, I was drawn to him.
I always looked at every guy that I recruited, I would always say, you may not be looking for a father, but I'm gonna treat you like you're my son. But he needed someone, I came in, I was just a father figure, someone that, talked to him just like I did with my own kids.
Sherman would ascend the ranks, winning a Super Bowl as the Seattle Seahawks running backs coach. Deland's career took off as well, from Mid-American Conference Freshman of the Year to the NFL, and his own rise up the coaching ranks. He also won a Super Bowl as the running backs coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. All the while, Sherman and Deland remained close and talked often.
And I always asked him, why do you want to be a head coach? Why do you want to coach? Why do you coach? And so understanding your why impacts how you do it. So I was always just trying to get to the reason why he wants to do what he's doing. And then, just his motivation behind it and just making sure that he stays focused on.
He definitely was, a mentor / father figure for me, because I always knew what I was getting with him, which was a high-level person.
While Deland experienced success both professionally and personally, there was always something missing.
Yes, I had a phenomenal family, adoptive family and everything. That's my family. And but you always wonder, like, okay, my deep voice, now there's just things you always wondered about, like, where did it come from?
In 2017, a state adoption records law changed, allowing Deland access to his birth certificate, where he discovered his biological mother.
I found out when I finally got what's called my original birth record was sent to me from the state of Pennsylvania, and it had my mom's name on there, didn't have her dad's. So I ended up tracking my mom that night, and I said, I got any brothers and sisters? She said, no, I never had any more kids, never got married.
Carol Briggs was just 16 years old when she found out she was pregnant. She was also from Youngstown, but was sent to the Zor Home for Mothers, Babies, and Convalescents in Pennsylvania. She delivered her baby boy, John Kenneth Briggs, and immediately put him up for adoption to give him the life she could not provide. She never told the father, a young athlete who was about to head off to college.
And then I said, well, shoot, who's my dad? And there's no way I expect her to say what she said. She said, your dad is a man named Sherman Smith. And I just was like super emotional, because she said, what? I said, oh, I know him, And she said, well, how do you know him? And then I told her. So it was, I was blown away. completely blown away.
The man who had been a father figure, mentor, and friend for the past 30 years was Deland's biological father all along.
It hit me like a bomb went off. And it was great news, but at the same time, it was a shock to me because I didn't expect that. Like I said, Deland knew that he was looking for his biological parents, and so he was in search of something. And I was a guy that didn't know that I had a son, and so I was taken by surprise by the whole conversation.
Sherman was now married with 2 adult children. Deland was also married with children of his own. After the shock wore off, reality set in.
When I told Sharon, Allison, there was no processing for her. Her first comment was, well, our family just got bigger and I want to go meet my grandkids. So our family, the 3 people that I was concerned about the most, they embraced it with open arms. They were excited about it, and we haven't looked back since.
Very emotional and surreal all at the same time. My dad says it was a God thing, just the timing of it and how everything came together. But, the fact that he was always involved in my life. Right now we're just, enjoying it, how all the families have come together and just bonded around this and just continuing to build our relationship.
Just an absolutely incredible story. I can't get over it. Every time I get goosebumps. Deland and Sherman were both running backs. Both coaches won Super Bowls. They also told me that over the years, people would say they had the same mannerisms, that they looked similar. It's just crazy. There have been talks about turning their story into a movie. They're shopping that around, and it was actually already featured on a documentary called Show Me the Father.
Imagine having a father-son duo that's won a Super Bowl. So rare, such a great story.